Welcome everyone to the MMOs.com podcast, special edition, episode 100. This is Altai, joined this week by...
Omer.
The one and only Big Gumble.
Matt.
And Sherelia, the AI version.
The AI. Can you pass the turn
obviously
test?
big face reveal this week. You can see Shu's animated face over here. But of course, we're celebrating the 100th episode of the podcast. You can see a wonderful little layout we got going on with party hats, mustaches, cat ears, and all the fun festivities. And before we jump into our week,
apparently my one mustache wasn't enough. So
you got a chest mustache.
And
I can't believe we made it to 100.
I can't either. Actually, I'm surprised. Here we are.
I'm surprised you guys didn't. I'm surprised you guys didn't get too lazy around number 50. I mean, come on, guys.
I don't know how we kept going.
I think we're all
everyone's been pretty diligent. I mean, you guys have run it all the time, even when people are missing. So,
especially Shu would never go missing though. She's always here. She gets attendance award for being here every time.
had maintenance.
Are you gonna give her a gold star for showing up every day?
Oh, that's a good idea. We should have gold stars, participation stars next to our names, and then if we miss one, it goes back to 0, and so we can see who has the most.
No, by Overwatch gold medal standards, Shu actually gets a gold medal because even if she's here like 30% of the time, she qualifies for gold like an Overwatch.
That's true. That's true.
Oh God, we're bringing this back.
But before we delve too much into that or get into our weekly raid, we want to talk a bit of the origin story of the MMOs.com podcast to celebrate how we got here.
It's quite exciting.
It was a very elegant story. I think it started around me just saying, calling everybody on Skype because we have a nice Skype group with all of us. And I hit the call group button and everyone's like, "Yo, what's up?" I'm like, "Yo, podcast now." Boom. And that was the podcast.
I want to point out. Number one, we are actually 1 month away from 2 years of podcasting. We started the podcast on May 12th, 2015, which really doesn't feel like it was 2 years ago, but it was. For some reason, we chose the silliest image possible. You can go to this link. I think you brought it up. It's just the Earth. I don't know. Aaron, was that you? We just chose the Earth?
This was the randomly generated thumbnail.
Oh, really?
Yeah, somewhere in the video or the podcast. This just happened to be there when we talked. I believe we were talking about Entropio Universe or something. So that is
maybe
that is what that is from. It was not a conscious decision on my part. And a little fun fact, guys, on how this podcast production got started. I used to actually take notes of every topic we discussed, every game we discussed, and then I would open the video editor like Sony Vegas or Premiere, and I would drag clips over our sound. So it would take me 3 hours to make the YouTube video of the podcast. So instead of just recording this live on OBS, we would just talk, right? I would just record Skype and then add all the video later. And that was a disaster. So thankfully...
We were retarded back then.
Yeah.
Can I point out, though, that Shu was actually right, that it was laziness that made the podcast what it is today. Aaron couldn't be bothered with video editing, and I don't think any of us could. So instead, we do this shit live, and we have some minimal preparation. We are a little more prepared these days, but it's definitely...
First looks. There's minimal preparation. Right? I don't feel back and edit shit, right? Laziness is what makes all of this come together nicely, all right?
That's how we make America great again. Laziness, getting around and being lazy.
You guys have no idea how jury-rigged our thing is. Like, I just got back into it because of the motion camera here. Yeah, it's really ghetto. Do we have like a chain of Skype? Is that how it works?
Oh yeah, it's a good point. Even today, to get for whatever reason, I'm not sure why we started doing this, but right now I have actually 4 instances of Skype open. I have 4 different Skypes logged in on my computer, and with each account, I call each member of the podcast, and then they turn their cam on for me, and then I drag it into those little circles you see. So I have 4 instances of Skype running to get this working, guys, right now.
And we have we're using 3 chat clients. We're using Skype, Discord, and Twitch right now because, again, we're retarded. All right, we use 3 chat clients to make this happen.
And I want to extend a special thanks to our viewers, which is what you're supposed to do when you hit 100. This is the only time you do it. This is the only thanks you get, because I can't believe you guys actually tune in, and I'm glad you do. And thank you for making the podcast worthwhile. Because if it was just us and it was just us watching, we sure as shit wouldn't be doing it still. So,
guys, I want to have a special mention for the spin-off podcasts that were dead, like the Toilet Tech podcast.
Dude, that was a great That was my favorite podcast. I feel like that didn't get enough attention out there. It was A+.
Rest in peace.
Do we have that on YouTube actually?
Yeah, we do. Kadaris, thank you for the $5 donation. It says celebration donation for episode 100. Really appreciate it.
Yes. In fact, we got so advanced this episode that we actually have the live Twitch alerts finally activated.
Oh my god!
Wow, how do those work?
Mm-hmm. All right.
And yeah, again,
they barely work.
Thanks everyone for joining us. And again, there will be fun giveaways at the end to celebrate our 100th episode. And I think is our weekly raid related to podcast stuff?
Nope, it's not. I tried to make it work. It didn't work. So we're really just going to have a regular weekly raid, and largely we're going to have a regular episode here, but it is 100, so...
I have some fun stuff I want to mention about previous podcasts. Some throwback.
All right, cool. I like it.
Should we throw this in first, or should we do a weekly raid? Again, this is such a well-prepared podcast. It always is. We have a production crew. We have staffing. We got everything going on.
Running backwards in this one. No, you go ahead. Take away.
Yeah, throw it in, because the weekly raid will send us backwards.
It's true. Let the inertia carry you.
I think our original weekly raid was supposed to be something about our favorite moments of the podcast. And I would have to say probably my favorite moment of the podcast was Erhan defending hacking, saying it improves the player experience. And we had a pretty lengthy discussion about this multiple times. And it was just such a nonsensical argument, but I don't know why. I just love talking about it. Because I remember Shu and me yelling at Erhan like, I don't enjoy when people hack in my game. And I was like, yeah, you do. What are you talking about? It makes the game better. Like, how do you defend that position? Erhan to this day maintains...
I did join Erhan on that one.
Yep.
Again, how do you two defend that? It makes no sense.
Well, let's not rehash the argument. It does exist. It's on one of the podcasts. I still hold to what I had said. I don't even know what it was, but I'm just going to go on a limb and say I still believe whatever it was I spouted.
That's a spirit. That's a spirit. Don't even remember your argument, but stand by it.
We need like a podcast highlight reel for 100.
That requires editing, Shu, so no, it's not happening.
That's
true.
True.
Talk about
this
lazy
is based on laziness, yeah.
If you mention something, you have to go ahead and do it now, Shu. So you mentioned that you gotta go do it.
Oh boy, that's a lot of effort.
I guess you can take it away with the weekly raid, Gumby.
I will say, just since this is the 100th episode, if anyone else wants to go after me too, I do have a favorite MMOs.com moment. I guess I've been here for a while, or at least long enough. My favorite moment was the beginning of this month. April Fool's was my favorite thing ever. I love tricking people, and anytime I write a satirical article and someone believes it, I am ecstatic. So we are one of the only sites that doesn't have an asterisk preface that warns people that what they're about to read is satire, and I will never change that unless I'm forced to. I love tricking people, so
that's a spirit.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else has a favorite MMOs moment, but that is definitely mine. If you think of it, though, we'll bring it up during the show. I think that's fair. But to get back to a normal podcast, we do have a weekly raid. It is a normal raid. This week it's a little bit of a somber discussion. It's about how do you know when you're burnt out on an MMO. It's kind of, I've played a lot of games, and I think a lot of people are MMO hoppers. And there comes a time when I'm playing the game and I realize that at the end of this day or tomorrow, I'm uninstalling. And for me, it's when I'm playing, say, an MMORPG, and I'm just wandering around town. I got a full quest log. I got shit I got to do, but I'm not doing any of it. I'm just kind of walking around town. I'm jumping off a ledge, or I'm running along a fence back and forth. I can't be the only one that does this. And I realized that I just don't feel engaged anymore. I don't know if you guys have a similar experience.
That actually sounds exactly like mine. That's what happens with me. Yeah, like I would just jump on top of a roof and just kind of walk back and forth and just look at people walking. And I'm like, what am I even doing? I'm not even having fun. And then I just leave. And that's it. I don't uninstall though.
What about when you're like on a building and you're like, what if I can get from this building onto that like barrel that's like 5 feet away?
Yep.
Like you have to land exactly on the barrel, and you find yourself doing that for like 10 minutes at a time. When you accomplish that, like, okay, from here, can I jump on like this side of that cart? And you have to try for like 20 minutes. I feel like when you're doing that more than playing the actual game, you've got to the point where you're kind of burnt out.
That's pretty much exactly it too, right? It's like it's fine to do it like a little bit, but once you're only doing that, that's when it's over.
See, I'm different. I only do that stuff when I'm waiting on people to finish up, like selling, like vendoring or doing whatever they're doing, right? And I've got like a big group, so it takes forever. That's when I'm sitting there doing stuff like that. Now, when I know I'm burnt out is when I open up my computer the next day. I'm like, I really should play this a little more, and I don't. And then I just install it I uninstall it the next day. Like I give it another 24 hours to sit there, make sure, and then it's just gone the next day.
For me, it's
not how you know it's really bad when you paid for the game and you just don't want to play it.
Well, a lot of sub
games
games
don't get the value.
I've said it before, but I'm kind of not like people in that regard. I just eat the cost of any bad decisions I make. So if I've paid for something and I don't end up playing it, it's the same as if it were free. I don't really care. It was my fault for buying something that I probably wouldn't have enjoyed.
It's fair.
I like somebody made a great comment in the chat. When I start watching top 10 MMO list videos, he knows he's burned out of his current game when he's searching for best MMOs on YouTube. It's a great sign. When you're on MMOs.com looking for a new game, that's when you know you're burnt.
For me,
when you hit the random MMO button.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right,
what were you saying?
Yeah, for me, it's always been, and I'm sure you guys have seen this before. You log into an MMORPG specifically, and what you do with your friends or people in the game is you talk about something else. Like you talk about another game coming out. A lot of WoW players do this. I remember having like 20-minute discussions with people about the next big game in like WoW or whatever, in EverQuest. And when I'm logging in to talk about a different game, it's clearly time to move on. I've noticed that happens pretty often. So
I think that actually answers a lot of. That's a big thing for a lot of people. When you log into a game to chat. I mean, we all find ourselves doing it, and I do think MMOs have a lot of fun social elements where you can chat, but when you're logging in just to chat, and I think we've all done it, and that kind of gives you a sign that you're getting a bit burnt out.
Oh baby, these donations coming in faster than we can see.
I like it. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You didn't even say the name, did you? Or am I just zoning out?
I did. Pakyaki 374. Thank you.
Oh, 374 is so specific, but thank you.
It's not even 350 from the Loch Ness Monster. Come on. But yeah, logging in just to chat with people is usually a sign that you're done. Or if you're always looking for that next big hype game, you're on RMRPG a lot more than you're actually playing an MMORPG, is another sign that you're kind of burnt out of your current game. Because I don't think anyone can really play probably more than 2 MMORPGs at once, seriously. I mean, these aren't games you can really just like compartmentalize and just play like 30 minutes a day. Like if you're playing an MMORPG, you're playing 1 or 2 tops, usually 1. So if you're looking for other games, you're totally burnt already.
That's true. That time commitment. That's a conversation we'll have another time about time commitment because it is a lot. I will say though, just to end on the chat thing, sometimes if I have people to chat with, that will get me in the game and keep playing. That happened in Final Fantasy XIV, although I guess when I was just logging in a chat, it did signal that about a month later, I canceled that Square Enix subscription, which took me a whole day to do because Final Fantasy XIV's website is garbage.
Always.
So that's another topic. Square, you really got to get your stuff together.
It's definitely a jump the shark moment when you're just logging into chat.
Jump the shark. All right, Fonz.
Yeah, you can still drag that out for like a month or 2 at that point, but when the gameplay is not what's pulling you in, it's
true.
It's terminal decline, shall we say?
And with that, I do want to recap. We played a game this past week. It was called Record of Lodoss War. And I think enough time has passed for a little bit of self-reflection. Shu, I guess you have to sit in timeout. I don't think you had a chance to play this one.
No, I should have.
And oddly enough,
we recap our
you
feelings
knew about that series of games. You said you were a fan, Shu.
Yeah, but Player Unknown's Battlegrounds.
Yeah. So
go on. I'll live vicariously through you.
To give a quick recap of this game, this I guess lore started as an RPG tabletop session between a bunch of players in Japan. They took notes on their games, their D&D sessions. Those notes eventually became novels. Those novels became anime. Those animes became this game apparently, along with their own spin-off of D&D, separate, standalone pen and paper game. So this has been going on since the 80s. This is a very long series in Japan.
There have also been other games. There have been a lot of other games.
Have there been other MMORPGs or just like RPGs?
No, not MMORPGs. There's been like a Diablo-like game, and I don't know what the others are off the top of my head.
It was on Dreamcast, and then there was a RPG, I think, on the... I want to say the SNES? Not 100%.
That's how long this has been around. This had SNES games and all that. Mm-hmm. The MMORPG itself is kind of like it's based on the Redstone, I guess, client or engine. So it's not a very cutting edge game, but surprisingly, or perhaps not so surprisingly, it has found a pretty good niche. There's one server in the English international version. It's quite packed. There were always people running around. We played it for about an hour or two, and I had a lot more fun with this than I have in several other Grindfest games. So that's a promising sign. I think this style still appeals to a lot of older gamers, and it's got a place for it.
It should be noted. It should be noted that this has a sizable audience without having like any proper advertising at all.
Mm-hmm. Zero. I haven't seen a single ad for it anywhere.
I mean, I didn't even know it was happening because they didn't even send out press releases until like 2 weeks after it was announced.
Mm-hmm. So I want to ask you guys, did you have more fun with Lodoss War or Revelation Online? The big budget game that everybody kind of, got hype about for a little while. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and say I had more fun with Lodoss War.
Do we want to do a round table?
Yeah, I want some answers.
All right, let me put it this way. When I played Revelation, I played, so kind of like when you're going to quit an MMORPG, I played without thinking. For some reason, I'm like, what am I doing? But I kept playing, right? Regular Lodoss War, the whole format, I don't know if it's just playing on my nostalgia or not, but I liked the way it was set up a lot better. Like just this traditional grind, classy isometric style. I realized that Erhan might be right about 3D versus 2D, because I was definitely more... there's a charm that you can't replicate in the game that isn't like Record of Lodoss War.
So is that a yes?
Yeah, Record of Lodoss War. That's a yes. Yeah, Record of Lodoss War Online. You can't just do yes or no,
Yeah, you gotta give it
I have a
spiel.
question.
Sure.
Since I haven't actually played it, how's the character customization in it?
Zero.
Non-existent.
Gender locked, appearance locked.
Holy crap!
But yeah,
So like cosmetics at all? Like you can't like equip gear and
There's you have to buy them. Yeah, there's cosmetics to buy.
Well, that's not too bad then.
Yeah, so I didn't detest playing Record of Lodoss War, so we'll go with that.
Didn't detest it. For me, as someone who defends the isometric view, look, Revelation had potential. I think their biggest fault was overly complicated systems and their own tooltips that link to unfinished pages on the homepage to describe these features. That's a no-go. At least with a game like Lodoss, since I played games like this for 20 years, I kind of had an idea what was going on. And that's so important. A game should be easy to figure out and go, and play. With Revelation, I played it for dozens of hours, and I still have no clue what's going on. So that is a bad, it's a bad system. All right.
You're not wrong.
It's really frustrating when you're playing a game like Revelation. And I cannot believe somebody didn't tell my.com or NetEase when they were making this game, like, what the frick is going on? Like, I felt confused while playing this game. And I was just kind of leveling because, to level. Like, my inventory is filling up with items. I had no idea what they did. Skill systems, I had no idea how they worked. Yeah, you put in time, you can figure it out, but it's frustrating to not know what's going on or why things are happening the way they are. And yeah, you had a little bit of that in Lodoss War because they have this weird, odd progression system with, the few different kinds of skill points, but nowhere near as bad as Revelation. And I just found it so frustrating, Revelation, when you ran into those issues. I mean, a game shouldn't frustrate you and confuse you. It can be difficult, it can require learning, but it shouldn't frustrate you like crazy just based on UI and interface alone.
Amen.
Amen. That's very Easter appropriate.
There's a lot of hate for this Revelation game here.
Look,
it's not hate. I think missed opportunity is the best way to characterize it.
It's like
I think outright hating it is wrong too, because I think Revelation is interesting just for what it tries to do, which is basically be a hodgepodge or a smorgasbord of all these different elements, smashing them all together and then trying to make it work. And there's something about that that's worth seeing. But again, I think Erhan had said it's just so convoluted that, I mean, we have a couple of guides up on the site, and those guides spent more hours. I spent more hours putting those guides together than I did playing the game, because it's just, there's so much to navigate and figure out. So, and you know what? I think it was hyped too, because, you know, it was the big title on the horizon. I think that it's still doing okay. It's not like the game fell off the charts. So, and I understand why people, it's no Black Desert.
No, I agree.
And like Gumball just said, it's missed opportunity. I still think there's like, it's a decent game, and maybe in the year ahead, when they finish their own websites, like description of the game, when they fully translate the game, you know, so I know what's going on when I play it. Okay, then it might be playable.
It was just so obviously made for the Chinese market that I'm shocked that that's what NetEase decided to make their big like PC debut in the West with. Why didn't they wait and just use that other one, Twilight Spirits, that's coming up, the action MMORPG? Why didn't they just wait?
Do you want to know why? Matt, do you want to know why?
Why?
Founders packs.
You could have done Founders packs for the other one.
They're going to, don't you worry.
Yeah, they could do both. I guess it doesn't really cost them anything, because they licensed to MMOs.com, who I guess, you know, took a lot of the risks.
Right.
But they make money too. Everyone, they make money.
Everyone was happy on the business side.
Except players about Founders packs, but still.
Well, speaking of, I think we've beat that one to death, Revelation. Staying on topic with my.com, their other big MMORPG is now on PS4 and Steam. So that's nice.
What's it called?
It's called Skyforge, actually. And
oh my god, what is that?
What's that game?
I actually like Skyforge a lot more than I liked Revelation personally.
Same.
It seemed a lot more quality involved.
You know why?
Well, if you haven't played it since Ascension launched, you might want to hold that thought. Because
everyone hates Skyforge now. Didn't you get the memo? You're supposed to hate it now.
What happened? What happened? What I missed?
Doesn't like Skyforge.
It's not cool anymore. You know why? You know why? It feels polished. You know why? It's made by Russians. I trust Russians when it comes to programming. All right, it's a positive stereotype, but you know, I believe it.
You know what this always reminded me of? Star Online. It always had that vague Fantasy Star Online vibe with the connection combat and the hub world.
That's fair, yeah. Skyforge gets a lot of hate. We should point out for purported pay to win, which I haven't played the game in a long time, so I'm not sure how it is since the Ascension update. But even if a game is pay to win, I think that doesn't mean you shouldn't check it out at all, unless you want to be like top big dog on campus. I had fun when we played, but okay, go ahead, Remo. I'm sorry.
Skyforge, it's really cool that it came on Steam too. It launched on console as well this week, so you got a console and Steam release. But anytime a game launched on Steam, it gives us an insight into how many people are playing the game. Because even a game like Revelation, it's really popular, but we really don't know how popular it is because we don't see any kind of real-time numbers or stats unless they release stats. But you can see on Steam how many people are playing on Steam itself. So Skyforge has about, it peaked around 3,000 people in the last 24 hours. And this is on top of everybody playing on the regular launcher as well. So 3,000 Steam users is actually pretty great, considering most people, I imagine, aren't even playing on Steam. So the game is still incredibly popular. I mean, 3,000 is nothing to laugh at.
And do you know how many people are playing Echo of Soul right now? Echo of Soul. Can we do a bet? 150 is a good guess. Anyone else?
250. I'm optimistic.
250. Anyone else? Echo of Soul, MMORPG from what, 2015 or so, 14?
Yeah. I'll say 100.
No other guesses? Okay, you're all wrong. It's 60.
60.
Right now. 60 people. Under 100 is a bad sign.
All right, so back to Skyforge. Skyforge actually confuses me a bit because I thought that, like Revelation is now, I thought they were trying to use it to kind of push their, like, come play on our platform through us and don't go through Steam. I thought that's what they were trying to do with it because, you know, they have the whole Steam wallet integration on Steam. Even though you have to use the my.com launcher anyways, you can pay with Steam Wallet, use your Steam account. And I thought they wanted everyone in their own ecosystem if they could keep it that way. So I thought that's why Skyforge had never been on Steam, but I don't know now. I'm confused a little, but I guess ultimately it can only help the game specifically.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I am mesmerized by this video I'm showing. I'm starting the character creation. Omar, this is you playing with the booty of this chick.
Oh, the butts.
Yes.
I love when character creators give you
this video.
options. and boob options. Might as well. I mean, you might as well go all out with the character creator. Pretty great. I kind of wish Revelation launched on Steam too, just so we can see how many people are playing it. As with any other MMORPG too.
It might, my.com has clearly shown that they're not against launching their games on Steam. So perhaps in a year or so, we will see Revelation come to Steam.
I have to say, I'm actually surprised because my.com, I mean, with Revelation, it felt like they were pushing their own launcher. Maybe they wisened up and realized that the my.com launcher is not going to compete, that the only thing that poses a rivalry to Steam, and I guess I'm taking us out of this, is Tencent.
Tencent.
Tencent recently announced that they are rebranding their launcher, and they are releasing. I actually don't have this up, so I don't know the name.
WeGame.
It is called WeGame. Yes, and it does actually pose a threat to Steam. And I guess I'm just going to go ahead and say why. And here's why: is that Tencent, if you don't know, owns Riot, which is League of Legends. And if Tencent decides to throw League of Legends on there and throw it in the West, I think it poses an actual threat to or at least people will be using both at the same time, both launchers. So I think Tencent is slowly making some moves.
And it should also be noted that despite probably a popular misconception, the Tencent game platform, now WeGame, does not only have Tencent games on it. They also sell stuff like Don't Starve and the single-player one, and some other games that have been hand-selected by Tencent to be sold through their launcher. But it's not just for their MMOs and MMORPGs. There are actually even Western localizations that are being sold on the Tencent Games platform right now. So it really could, if they bring it over in a full English manner and sell English language games on there, they could very well compete with Steam.
Speaking of competing with Steam, first of all, I love the fact that they have this timer on their website, a countdown clock. More sites should do these countdown clocks. Websites, really.
A lot of sites do countdown clocks.
All right, well, I'm all for that. The more, the merrier. Second, as for competing,
okay, whatever. Go ahead.
That's out there. No room for debate on that.
What happens to page on MMOs.com? If there's a countdown clock, it counts as a pro. All right. If it's got a countdown clock, you put that as a pro.
It doesn't show the content until the countdown clock is ended.
I know Omer's face is kind of blocking the time a little here, but just for you guys know, the WeGame site will be live in 1 day and 8 hours from now. So you guys can check out WeGame.com if you're interested. As for competing with Steam, fun fact, currently Tencent is focused in China, and they have 200 million users, which is already more than all of Steam worldwide. So just to put China in perspective when it comes to, lots of bodies in one place.
Also, to give you guys an idea of their numbers, the reason this could pose a threat to Steam is because they own League of Legends. And if you look at the data right now for Steam, there's about 9.3 million players online on Steam, with about 2 million of those players in a game. So those numbers are pretty large, right? But if you look at League of Legends, which boasts 100 million monthly active users, that number alone trounces these numbers. League of Legends alone has more users than all of Steam put together.
We don't actually know that. We don't know how many monthly active users Steam has. That's kind of a misrepresentation of the numbers that we do have.
Well, it's an estimation. And if you have 100 million monthly active users, I feel like you have more than 2 million people online at any given time, concurrent users.
Well, there are more than 2 million concurrent users on Steam.
Well, I'm not people in game.
I mean, maybe, but
anyway, it's an estimation, and regardless, if they bring on League of Legends, that alone will propel them to near equal or possibly greater or possibly a little bit less than all of Steam. It just shows you how big League of Legends is right now, and that will instantly give the platform a big enough boost to get more people. And that's especially if they require, because they own the Riot Games, they could just say, listen, your game has to be on WeGame, and Riot Games can't say no. That they're literally beholden to Tencent. That would be huge.
I should say at this time that all this on our part is speculation at this moment. We'll know in a day exactly what their plans are, whether they even plan to go global or international with this. Currently, all we know is, it will support global games and English language, multiple languages, but we don't know what their plans are or whether they'll move League of Legends to this client. It's all speculation for now.
I love speculation. It's the best kind of.
Having said that, if they do it, I think it'll be the biggest story of the year when it comes to gaming.
Doesn't Tencent also control the big instant messengers in China as well?
Yes.
Yes.
So like they have if they have the integration with that, it'd be pretty big.
Yeah, that's a good point, Joe.
Okay.
The name WeGame comes from the fact, it's kind of co-branded with WeChat, which is their mobile chat / payments system.
Also, a bit of data too. Last year, Riot released, they had 27 million daily players with 5 million peak concurrent users. This year, the number, that was back when they had 67 million monthly users, so they're up to 100 million users now. So they have at least minimum 5 million concurrent users, because actually their monthly numbers almost doubled. That number should probably be close to double as well, to 7 or 8. So they got lots of people. They got all that. League is way too big. Way too big.
Too big.
Too big.
I have a question for you, Omer, since you just said League is too big. This is a bit off topic, but does Master X Master have a chance against the Titan League of Legends? Maybe you could briefly mention.
Look, I've been playing a little bit more Master X Master recently with some of the guys on Discord too. I think it's a really fun game, but I don't think it's so hard to beat League of Legends. I mean, just to give you guys some context too, like we always talk about the WoW killer too, but like the way League is kind of implanted in the gaming scene, it's bigger than WoW, like much bigger, like more than double their revenue. Like it's such a large scale that like nothing has killed WoW for like over 10 years since WoW has been out since 2004, so over 12 years. I don't think anything's going to come close to League, but it doesn't have to. I think Master X Master has potential to kind of just be around, maybe be a second tier mobile player, because the game itself is really, really fun. And I mean, even if you don't want to play any other MOBA but League or Dota, I say just give Master X Master a try just for that fun combat. They got to fix the weapon upgrading system, just get rid of it, in my opinion, because it's going to turn off a lot of mobile players. As I mentioned it before, you have to level up your weapons, and those are actually just upgrades that stick with you in PvP. And you have to grind those in PvE or grind in PvP to upgrade your weapons. And they can be pretty massive upgrades to your character. And people don't want to play a game, especially competitive mobile players don't want a game where your opponent has better gear than you, better upgrades than you at the start of the game. Like, that's just unfair. And people don't like that. So hopefully, if they get rid of some of that stuff, I think it could do really well. I mean, people are playing it in beta too. A lot of people are playing it in beta right now. It's basically a tag team league, and that's such a cool concept. You know, we've seen so many MOBAs out there try to just, do something a little bit different to capture the market, but nothing has done anything like Master X Master. The tag team element is so cool. You pick two champions, you can switch out basically on a 12-second cooldown between them. They have their own health bars, their own cooldowns. Get a melee character, get a ranged character, and you can really mix and match them however you want to complement their strengths. And you can actually choose different skills on each one too. It's such a cool concept, and I really wish they polish it up, and it's got potential.
So is this game actually
try it out? Is
this game actually out now, or is it like still closed beta or something?
It's closed beta. It's not
okay, that's what I figured.
I think anyone can play it though. I think anyone gets instant closed beta access if you go to their website and try playing.
There will be wipes though, right?
Yes, until after open beta there won't be no. This summer I think the open beta is starting, if I remember correctly.
I'll wait.
Yeah, but it's really fun. Just the core combat is just really good, and I feel like if League did something like this too, or like it's so cool to see a MOBA do this. Nobody else has tried this. You've seen so many other MOBAs trying to capture, like, do something a little bit different. You've seen the action elements and Smite and stuff, but no one's done the tag team stuff, and it's so cool. But obviously, balancing is gonna be really hard. The learning curve goes through the roof. Imagine like in League or Dota, you have to know what 5 opponents do. Now you gotta know what 10 opponents do because they have each of 2 heroes. So it gets crazy complicated. But I think the game has potential. I think more so than a lot of other MOBAs we've seen.
That's fair. I'm actually surprised to hear that. So good for you, Master X Master, with your silly name. That is a ridiculous name, isn't it? It's like someone watched Hunter x Hunter and like, oh, let's just do that, and then they went with Master X Master. What?
There's actually a Hunter x Hunter knockoff Chinese game now.
Oh, I played that. It was horrible, but no, it was okay.
Another Chinese game?
Yes, I guess. Yeah, it was exactly the same thing as any other turn-based browser RPG, but with the Hunter x Hunter splash on it. So if you really love that series, then go for it.
I feel like if you really love that series, you don't want to support a Chinese bootleg game. I feel like they're just stealing the art and stuff. You're not going to be supporting whoever owns the license or whoever makes it. Yeah, it's try out Master X Master, guys. I recommend, at least just for the combat. And they have a fun 3v3 mode as well, which is basically an arena combat, and it's hella fun. And you got the characters from Blade and Soul and all the NCSoft characters. Though it's fair to say, I don't think the NCSoft universe of characters has the same cachet as the Blizzard characters. So I mean, it's nice they have them, but like more than half the characters are like original characters made just for this game because they don't have that many characters in their universe.
Now, I think this is the 100th episode of the MMOs.com podcast, right? So I think we need to have a controversial conversation.
I love controversy.
It's very typical.
Do we always have?
We don't always get as controversial as we might like. Basically, I measure controversy by the potential for a YouTube cult of fanboys to leave negative comments. And I think this one has that potential.
I love this.
What we want to talk about is hype and its role in certain products we see today. Certain games are going to be coming out. I kind of want to take it generally. I think Omer is a little more specific, but just the role that hype is playing and how it kind of sells a game before it even exists. Omer, do you want to start this off? I know you have a very specific example. I know you're very passionate. So
What's
maybe...
your favorite one?
I have very strong opinions currently about Ashes of Creation. Only because it's the most recent one. I'm not going to talk about Chronicles of Valeria or Star Citizen. Obviously, they follow some of the same issues. But Ashes of Creation has been getting an unbelievable amount of attention lately. And I feel like it's almost like my duty to be the hype police right now. I mean, first of all, I want to preface this with, I wish them luck. I want them to succeed, right? Obviously. But there are certain things about these Kickstarter, these pre-Kickstarter, these crowdfunded games. This game will be crowdfunded. They're doing a Kickstarter soon, they said, I think by the end of the month. But I saw a video by the Lazy Peon, a well-known YouTuber, and he made a great video on Ashes of Creation. And my real problem with, not necessarily his video, but more so Ashes of Creation itself, is they have this referral program. And I think we briefly mentioned this before, but we're seeing a lot of YouTubers push the referral program for Ashes of Creation.
Let's be clear, though. Be real quick. It's not just YouTubers. Actually, people are going to message boards, including Reddit, and they're posting these referral links and saying, this is the best game ever. And they're posting their own referral link, and you see it. It says /REF as a way to market the game. So potential players are basically part of the marketing team.
Yes, they were actually really smart about that because the guy who made Ashes of Creation, Mr. Sharif, I believe his name is, we talked about him in a previous podcast. He was involved with a I believe it's a multi-level marketing business opportunity company where he made millions peddling some juices. So he would say, you buy my juices, you sell the juices, and you make all this money. You get your friends to sell juices for you, and you make lots of money that way too. It's called Zango or something. It was on his old Twitter account. You can find it there. But as somebody who comes from a background of multi-level marketing, he was a genius to implement similar schemes built into Ashes of Creation. So anyone that makes an account in Ashes of Creation has a unique referral link that they can share online. And when anybody signs up to that link, from your special link, you get 15% of all the money they spend on the game itself, right? But more importantly, not just the game itself, you get 15% of all the money that the person who signs up pledges for the Kickstarter campaign. So if somebody pledges $1,000 on their upcoming Kickstarter or crowdfunding campaign, you get 15% of that as well, apparently, because it includes crowdfunding campaigns as per their FAQ. In fact, on their message boards, they have a FAQ about the game, and they specifically talk about the referral program as one of their key features. So, and you see these referral links being used by people like Lazy Peon, big YouTube creators are pushing the game, and they're talking about, that's fine. If they're excited about the game, that's all good too. But to have a built-in referral program for a pre-Kickstarter, they're not even at the Kickstarter level yet. They're pre-Kickstarter, pre-anything game. And I've seen so many comments on Reddit, on our own YouTube channel.
Don't they?
They had a yes, they had some trailer, yeah. But I feel until I can play something, I ain't counting. The most basic of basic. Let me play something or see something. But I've deleted at least 50 comments, maybe like 20, 30 on the MMOs.com YouTube channel. Luckily, they get caught by the filter, right? People are leaving comments on MMOs.com videos saying, "Check out Ashes of Creation. It's the best game ever," and they put their referral link in there, hoping to make money. And because you can cash this out, this isn't like in-game currency money. They're giving you cash, cold hard cash for shilling the game. If they kept it to in-game money, that's fine. But to give out cash for this, it incentivizes people to just sell hype because they can make real-life money off it.
Especially, I think, in the crowdfunding phase. When I first read about this, I thought it would be limited to you refer people, and then that helps pay your subscription, right? So if you refer enough people, you basically play for free. That's okay, whatever, you know? But the fact that they're going to give you a cut of what people donate to their Kickstarter, that makes that raises an eyebrow.
Yeah. somebody mentioned, why is that bad? It's bad for one reason. There is no game yet. You're tricking people or potentially selling the hype of Ashes of Creation, which may never happen. Look, I hope it happens, right? But a game may never happen, and you're getting paid to promote and hype a game that may never come. That may never come out. I mean, look at all the issues StarCitizen had with over $140 million of funding, and they still haven't released. They pushed back timetables, and with all that funding, they haven't been able to deliver their dream. I'm not saying these guys can't do it, but to have a referral program for based on hype on a game that's not out yet is an issue. Games like EVE Online today have referral programs where if you send a paying user to EVE Online, you will get paid a % of their subscription. It's affiliate programs, referral programs are a base part of internet marketing. But to have it on a pre-Kickstarter game and getting paid on whatever the guy pays for Kickstarter or crowdfunded sources, that's the issue. That's what I find incredibly shady, and I don't like it. Something is wrong about it because the guy who made the game has a background in MLMs, which were shilling these business opportunities.
I will dispute that point, right? Yes, the guy has a scummy past. I think we can all agree the guy has a scummy past. Did I say that properly? Scummy past. But you shouldn't judge somebody based on the past. I think what's scummy about it is that there's an intrinsic scumminess to a referral program that exists before a product. It reminds me of, it's as if you went door to door selling something. Like you're selling a vision, you're selling a dream, you're selling a promise, right? And people buy into it, and I think it also plays into our hype culture. Everyone wants their own idealized vision of a game, right? Mm-hmm. So, and what they do is they keep all of their terms very ambiguous, like a world of consequence, right? That sounds great. It's like, that sounds amazing. But you know what? You and me, we all have different ideas of what that is. And until you see exactly what that means. Now, there has been some description. There has been some, they have described certain of the elements of the game in Ashes of Creation, like the node system. But it's one thing to say something and another to actually build it. Mm-hmm. And I think crowdfunding has kind of run amok in certain instances, in that you don't see the steps needed to actually realize this vision. All you see is the vision itself, and then this referral program ends up just bolstering that notion. You don't have a game though.
Gubby, you don't want to judge somebody based on what they did before. If Mr. Bernie Madoff comes up to you and says he's got a great investment for you, are you gonna tell him to take a hike, or you give him your hard-earned money? No, your past, of course, impacts your reputation, what you've done.
You were waiting for this, weren't you?
There's a great segment on John Oliver on MLMs, and I recommend anyone who doesn't know how MLMs work to check it out. I mean,
I also
stay away from multi-level marketing campaigns or business opportunities. Those are always sketchy.
Anyone who uses the term AAA game to describe their title, there's two reasons why they do that. Number one is that their marketing department is shit and they don't know how to sell their product. Number two is they actually have absolutely nothing, because the AAA means nothing. If AAA only refers to the amount of funding you got, then that's a joke, because you can't just throw money at something and make it disappear. All the money in the world isn't going to help you solve world peace. Money means nothing. It doesn't actually, money doesn't equate to a good product. It's the people in the seats or the intention behind it. And I think that's something that we miss way too often in these crowdfunding games. I mean, StarCitizen has a tons of money and there's no game yet.
We have one guy in our chat, for example, defending this to the grave. He's actually saying the referral program is actually giving money back to the players. It's hilarious you guys are against this. Those are the wordings that they used to. We want to give powers to the players, like the GameStop slogan, right? We want to give something back to the players.
Power to the players.
That is the problem. When you are getting paid to push a game that doesn't exist yet, and you getting paid a % of the crowdfunding proceeds, which, let's be real, crowdfunding campaigns are built on hype, especially games like this, which don't potentially have the funding to ever exist without crowdfunding. You are getting paid to sell hope, and the game may not come out. And if you're getting other people involved and you're selling people on the game and paying them, if you're paying people cash to promote your game like this, the incentives are skewed. It creates a problem, and I personally find that to be really, really scummy. Look, if the game is already out there and you want to get the referral program, nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with the referral program. EVE Online does it, and I'm sure World of Warcraft does it with the high-level advertisers that they work with. Anytime you see an ad on whether it's MMOs.com, MMORPG.com, any video game website, there are revenue share deals all the time. These are affiliate deals, and there's nothing wrong with those. The only problem is when you're for a game that doesn't exist yet. That's the problem. And you get paid % of the crowdfunding proceeds. If they got rid of that part and you only got paid a % of the game sales, maybe it's much better. But when you're getting paid on crowdfunding, oh, the sketch level goes through the roof for me.
Well, the problem with the crowdfunding part is that it's like you said, the game's not even out yet. They need that money to even make the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're giving it out to people. It's like,
well,
kind of,
you know, Shu, I'm glad you brought that up because I've read a lot of discussions and what I've heard is that the game is actually already funded, which to me says, then why are you going to Kickstarter? Why are you having these referral programs? If your game's already funded, then what are you doing? That reminds me of, was it Shenmue that pulled something similar? Then there's no reason for you to go to crowdfunding. Then it's a total joke, and then you're just playing on your stretch goals. You're playing on the vision. I don't know if that's true or not. That's a rumor based on people marketing the game themselves. And you know, maybe we're all wrong, right? Maybe there's this is all well intentioned and whatnot. But the thing is that when it comes to these things, I think that a level of skepticism needs to be adopted by everybody who plays these games or who looks for the next great thing. Because when you buy into any type of hype, when you buy into any type of dream without skeptically inquiring about what that means, you're going to get burnt. And we've seen it happen way too often. So question, you know, real investors, they sit there and they scrutinize a PowerPoint presentation. They don't just buy into it off of one bullet point list of key features.
Yeah, they go into it. They do due diligence. Yeah, of course.
Well, Warren Buffett isn't supporting any of these games because there's too much risk. And there's a good reason why. That's the thing about crowdfunding is that it's all on the consumer. There's nothing to protect the consumer. It's all on you to figure out whether or not this is worth your money. And too many people buy into the dream. Dreams always look better than reality.
And that's a good point. And I think we're focusing too much on national creation. And one of the reasons why we're so skeptical is because throughout the history of this podcast, actually, we've seen many projects like this just fail to deliver. For example, on the first podcast, we actually talked about Shroud of the Avatar. Omer and I were big Ultima fans back in the day. And, you know, however you want to put it, you know, there is a game called Shroud of the Avatar now, but it did not live up to its crowdfunded vision. No, the vision we were sold, it's been like years now, I think, with no real... The game's still not out, by the way, obviously.
2014, I think.
It's pre-alpha, early access on Steam, whatever that means, but they're charging money. They raised $11 million. They haven't really launched or delivered. Nobody plays it on Steam. Star Citizen obviously is another one. It's been 5 years. This game is still not out there. So that is why we are skeptical of these MMORPG projects that rely on crowdfunding. So some background, so you guys don't think we're just.
And I don't want to, you know, I hope actual creation happens, right? I saw that Node video everybody else saw. The concepts that explain that video were pretty great. There's some great ideas behind Astral Creation, as there are on many of these Kickstarter games. I don't think any of us should be labeled as like, I hope they fail. No, I want StarCitizen to deliver. I want Chronicles of Elyria to deliver. The more good games out there, the better. Especially, you know, we haven't seen too many Western games come out recently that were really, you know, really great. I mean, a lot of Eastern games have been coming out all the time now. I mean, I really hope they can actually deliver and fulfill their promises. I just remain skeptical about their ability to do so, especially some of these crowdfunded games. I mean, at least Star Citizen has all this money and they're still having issues.
Wait, are we going to transition to Star Citizen? I think, Erhan, you watched a video, right?
Yes.
I watched the same video. And can we transition? Does anyone else have any final thoughts about hype and hope and crowdfunding?
No, we're good. I want to jump on this.
I got one.
Okay, Shu, go ahead.
I just want to say that, like, maybe this is just a sign that we just all need to be more mindful of our money and that there isn't like some kind of organization out there looking out for the starter.
That's right. There's no consumer protection.
It's on you.
We need a better business bureau for gamers, okay? So the Gamer Defense Fund.
Run by Erhan Altai over here.
Yes, you got to give me your money, though. I got to hold your money.
Why don't you create it?
All right. Erhan Altai at paypal.com. That's not our...
Well, let's get to this really fun topic. After I watched this video, I'm really excited, Erhan. I'm glad you sent it to me. Basically, Star Citizen sent out a video the other day, and it's outlining their production schedule. If you didn't know, a couple months ago, Star Citizen, Roberts Space Industries, that's not an egotistic name at all. Basically, they decided to be very transparent about their production schedule. Their backers were complaining a bit that, you know, a lot of the promises, a lot of the stretch releases weren't coming out on time, like say 3.0 or whatnot. So they decided to make their production schedule transparent. And they came out with a 20-minute video explaining how their scheduling process works. And I don't know if I should actually reveal the final thoughts. Maybe Erhan, you should take this away.
Okay. So this was, I haven't been following StarCitizen for that closely for a while now, because honestly, it's been so long. You know, I pretty much wrote it off. But when 3.0 came out, they had this huge post on their website. I'm like, oh, there's a lot here. Let me read this. And as I was reading the post, there were a lot of words, right? But they weren't really saying anything. It was just words for the sake of words. So, and I saw a video, embedded video. Okay, a video. A video is easy to watch. We all love videos. This podcast is a video. Let me watch the video. So I started watching the video. 20-minute video. Wow. They must have added a lot of features. I'm watching. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And they're just talking still. It's words coming out. And they're talking about like, well, the system relay and then message and then break up the functions and send out the features. They're just saying words. Nothing's actually...
Excel, baby.
Yeah, there's an Excel sheet in the background. And it really reminded me of a bureaucracy gone amok. Like, you know, you try to fill out the forms, the stamps, you got to staple it. You can't use a paper clip or else you got to go back to the back of the line. And it reminded me of a movie called Brazil. I don't know. I think it's
brilliant movie by Terry Gilliam from Monty Python. It's very Kafkaesque. That's a fun phrase, right? That's how you know you're an asshole, when you say Kafkaesque.
Yeah. So anyway, it's about this bureaucracy.
I've been waiting for that.
And it's an example of what's in this video. It's about their scheduling system, their internal planning and scheduling for this project. Which every project needs some kind of scheduling and some kind of guy calling the shots. The problem is though, they've created such a complex system of scheduling that they can't really get anything done. For example, people in the video mention, when I want to add a soundtrack of a sound, like a piece of cargo dropping on a ship, like on the cargo bay of a ship, like a plunk, right? He says, I can't approve that. I have to like upload that to the content system, like the project management system, and people from all 4 studios have to okay it before that can enter the system. Like...
It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. It felt like a business run by a bureaucratic megalomaniac. The number of hoops that people have to jump through to get anything done. Basically, the whole video felt like, I saw a lot of comments like, this is how you run a development studio, yada yada, but I don't see EA coming out with a video of 20 minutes of excuses for why you're not on time with your development schedule. That's what it felt like. It's just like, look, pity us. Look how hard developing a game is. Yeah, developing a game is hard because you're spending all your time in meetings and updating Excel sheets. If you stop fucking sitting on a 4,000 by 4,000 Excel grid, you would have a game instead of the same free weekend you've had for the last 2 years. It's honestly, after watching the video, I'm with Omer. StarCitizen's never coming out. It's going to come out as modules, and that's it. I'm completely blown away that anybody has any respect for what's going on there. I'm now on the I am on the Derek Smart camp now, firmly.
Okay, okay. You don't have to go from one extreme to the other. Just stay
I'm an American. I deal in extremes. Okay.
Wow, we got to take the pen out of your hand then.
I don't use pens. I only got a keyboard.
The great
All right.
Oh, go ahead. Do you have any
what I was gonna say is you guys confused the shit out of me, because at first it just sounded like Erhan didn't know what the fuck they were saying, so he was trying to say that it was all bullshit because he had no idea what they were saying. Then it sounded like it's just run terribly, but I don't know. The thing is, they did say what's going on. I mean, to their credit, they actually did say what's going on. But you'd think with how much money they got and how many employees they have, they'd just pay someone to automatically update the Excel sheets for them. Like someone, like, lean back, go, hey, we did this, okay? And it's like, they just update it for them, Just maybe pay 1 per studio or something. They can't be that big, on their own. So
how much money have they raised? Do we have a number?
Let's bring it up real quick.
144 million. Yeah, they could definitely hire somebody.
Here's the thing, though. There were a few minutes of nuggets in this video, and with the 3.0 update, the written post, there were a few points, right? But I really think, and I could be wrong, but it's just my speculation at this point, they're doing a strategy of just overwhelming you with information, so that there's the illusion of like progress. And as an example for this, in court cases, when you want to kind of overwhelm the other side, if they request information from you, like if a company is being sued by the government or something, what they'll do is send tens of thousands of boxes worth of paperwork, right? just to overwhelm them, so it takes too long to dig through everything. A lot of useless information, but there are nuggets of there is some content in this video. I just don't think we needed a 20-minute video discussing their project management system. I don't. Who was this aimed at?
Do you remember there's a part in the video where they go on and on about how great they are for being transparent in this video, and at that point I was disgusted. I worked for a company like Robert Space Industries then, where a guy had me in meetings every day. I had to keep everything I did updated on an Excel sheet, and then I got yelled at because I didn't get any work done. And the reason why was I was so busy being a bureaucrat that I couldn't write articles. And so I know what that's like, and that's what it feels like. Is it's just and maybe the people working there, they're all genuine. They want to make this game, but the video to me was just like Erhan said. It's like Brazil or Kafka's The Trial. It felt like you're locked behind the administrative process rather than actually making the game. Gamers don't want to see Excel sheets. They want to see the gameplay.
I think you could have presented that information a lot better too. Like from the idea, the feature to in-game could have been presented a lot better as well. They talked a little about the cargo, and you saw a little bit of the movement of things, but I feel like it was almost like data overload, and it just wasn't presented well overall.
No. And I think that there's a famous fallacy, and basically it's basically when people use if you ever read like an academic paper, when people use fancy language or they try and convolute what they're saying, it means they're trying to look bigger than they actually are. And that's what the whole video felt like. It was masking development behind this convoluted process to make it seem like it was effectual, whereas they were really saying absolutely nothing. And that's very famous in many spheres. It's total bullshit. It's the art of. There's a famous book, Harry Frankfurt's The Art of Bullshitting, or an analysis of bullshitting. That's what it felt like to me.
And to give you a bigger timeline here, so StarCitizen came out or was originally in development in 2012. Okay, it's currently 2017, as you guys know. So 5 years roughly, right? The months could be slightly off, but 5 years. And still in development with no release date currently stated. There's no release date currently given. To contrast that with the history of MMORPGs, I know StarCitizen is an MMORPG, but just for the sake of timelines here, Ultima Online, which is the father of the modern MMORPG, was first started development in 1995. Okay, World of Warcraft, which is arguably the pinnacle of the current model of MMORPG, came out in 2004. So in a 9-year period, we went from the idea of a modern MMORPG to basically the current model of a finished MMORPG in 9 years. 5 years for StarCitizen, and we still have no release date in sight.
Well, we do actually. There's an MMOs.com.
Oh, that's true. Let me bring that up.
Somebody mentioned the chat, so I thought it was pretty funny. We have an accurate estimate based on all the knowledge points, all the data points we've seen online. We've modeled that with our quantum computers.
Oh, you mean Shu? Because she's a machine.
2072. Oh. Will I be alive? I'll be alive, hopefully.
It'll be good. But I mean, I think we all want to see StarCitizen come alive. I mean, I don't think there's anyone out there besides Derek Smart who just really wishes it crashed and burns. But I don't think anybody wins if the game crashes and burns.
Actually, I'm on the other side now. After watching the video, I'm on the crash and burn.
You want the crash and burn now? You're from the camp of wishing it.
I was so insulted. Did no one watch a Terry Gilliam film over there at Robert Space Industries? That was embarrassing. And now I'm with Derek. Derek, please unblock Omer so we can follow you again. Please, okay?
Unblock me on Twitter, please. I never even
please
messaged the
guy. We love you, Derek.
Never even messaged him, and he blocks me on Twitter. Why?
We talked shit months ago.
We talk shit. It's all right. We're supposed to talk shit. It's a podcast, all right? Just look a little shit around, make it fun.
We're actually all reading off of what are those cards? We don't actually, this is all planned.
Punch cards.
We planned so hard. Yeah, little index card.
Smart follows me on Twitter, by the way.
Really?
Oh, wow.
I think he follows me too.
Yeah, he follows me.
Wow, he followed. Oh, blocked me.
It's just you.
What the hell? Come on, D Smart.
Hold on. I gotta.
Look,
don't actually hold on.
I don't think any kind of hate for a game should ever reach Derek Smart proportions. I mean, the guy is almost made a career of himself right now bashing StarCitizen. And if you're ever on the traders being that salty, like no matter what you're dealing with, right? Even if it's like an outright scam, like a pure scam. Spoilers, there are a lot of scams on the internet, you know, like all the time. Like to be that against it and to like make your identity like, oh my God, I hate this so much. Like then you're going too far to the salty like avenue. And like that doesn't really serve anyone, you know? Don't hate on any game to shut down. Like I hope all these games come out. Be skeptical, but don't go full Derek Smart on any game. It's just not healthy for you.
I think you just said it best. Be skeptical. Be skeptical in all areas of life. Trust nothing that doesn't pass your own reasoning. And I think too many people are willing to buy into whatever seems exciting and new. Be skeptical, please. Jesus Christ, please be skeptical. But I guess we should take it in a more positive direction now. Maybe something we're excited for.
A small positive direction.
Take us, please.
A very small positive thing I want to update you guys. Last week I talked about my retirement savings with trenchcoat investing, and I've actually bought a third trench coat. I have 3 trench coats in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. It's a virtual item that you can buy and sell in the Steam Marketplace. I bought my third one. I paid $92 for it, I believe, and the price on my trench coats are going up. I want you guys to know I'm making money. I actually
got in on this.
I suckered shoot it, and I got 20% of what she put in. You know, because I referred her in, and then we got the scam going this way too.
No, but I already made money off of it, right? Like I mean,
yes.
The investment already paid off. I purchased.
You paid 95, I believe, or 92, 92.50, and the bid is at 100, and the ask is 103. So each trench coat can be sold today for $100, $100. So I have 3 of those. I bought 80. I paid $80 each. So I'm already up like $50 on my trench coats. And actually, the bandana I bought for $40. It's another rare item in the game you actually only get from pre-orders. I bought it for $40, and it goes for about $80. So I made $40. I made about $100 speculating on.
I bought one yesterday.
Items. And this is like a week. Yeah, so prices are going up, and my retirement looks sound for the time being, and it rests on the bull market in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds commodity. These items over there. I'm hoping the game is popular in 2 years, and I'm gonna cash out my chips and buy myself a condo in Miami Beach. That's the plan.
Well, your timetable keeps going up. It's going from 6 months to a year to 2 years. Omer, just pick a time, stick with it, and stop trying to bet for longer.
I made $100. I'm gonna cash out when I make 5G, and I'm gonna roll that 5G into the craps table and win more money that way. That's the plan. That's the MMOs.com retirement account, by the way. That's your 401ks over there too, by the way. I have your bonuses riding on these PlayerUnknown trench coats. But yeah, I'm having fun speculating on that. Take away something more positive.
Omer wakes up and gets a rush because he sees that it's slightly higher. It's gone up like at least.
Yes, it's up like $15 from. I wish I bought more.
Yeah, Omer sits there and he wakes up. He checks it. He goes, this is better than my waifu.
I got a story that gave me a smile, at least. It brightened my day.
All right.
This is one of the first, I guess, free-to-play studios whose games I played was always S2 Games. Their games didn't really start free-to-play, but they all went free-to-play, whether it was Savage 2 or Heroes of New Earth, which was Dota 2 before Dota 2 came out. And they're going back to their roots of copying other people's games, all right? They released a game called Brawl of Ages on Steam. And this game is basically Clash Royale ported to PC and using assets from their failed MOBA, Strife, which was like a kitty MOBA. Just saying that, blatantly clone a game like this. I mean, people think Paladins is like a clone of Overwatch. Wait till you play some S2 games. All right, that's they really perfected the clone.
Well, it's actually even worse because they didn't even make the game. They outsourced it to another company.
Yeah.
That's true. They're technically the publisher, but a lot of the assets the developer used were from S2, which to me implies there was some close collaboration between the two studios.
I feel like they were too embarrassed to put their name as a developer because they've already kind of been known to be the company that ripped off Dota with Heroes of New Earth. I mean, there were heroes in Heroes of New Earth, which are identical clones to Dota. I mean, it was... And the people played it because in the game, it was a great game, by the way. I played a lot of Heroes of New Earth, but it's undoubtedly was a Dota clone. I mean, and it was really great because Dota 2 wasn't out at the time, and that was really your only other option to play a Dota-like game before Dota 2 came out if you didn't want to play League. So it was a great game, but it was totally a Dota clone with the heroes identically ripped off, with the same exact stats and the same
same map
abilities.
The same map.
Same map, everything, yeah. Everything was the same.
Didn't Ice Rock work on it though? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that was the rumor. Yeah, he did. So he's kind of like the player unknowns of MOBAs, you know.
He's like the Ginsu of their side. Yes.
As for Brawl of Ages, honestly, if you're interested in this game based on the video you're seeing, just play Clash Royale on your phone. It's just easier and I think a better experience. But to their credit, this game is not pay to win. Once you unlock the cards, you or the units or whatever they are, you own them outright. They don't get more powerful like they do on the phone with the Clash Royale. So it is balanced. You can get a good deck and be competitive fast. Problem is, I don't really see it getting too big based on what I saw and the Steam numbers currently online. But it's free. If you like Clash Royale a lot, you got burned out, try this one.
Chill.
It wasn't awful. It wasn't awful, but there's something about the colors which weren't great. But at least it's a balanced version of Clash Royale, basically.
Yep.
And we'll see how much people value that balance or not, because Clash Royale is 100% pay to win. This apparently is no pay to win, so we'll see if that actually gives it any staying power or not.
Not if it's not on mobile.
There you go. It's got to be on mobile. I mean, they should release mobile first, if anything. People want to play these games on mobile, not PC.
Speaking of mobile, I got a story I'm sure would like.
Oh, it's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fake Grand Order is coming to North America in the summer.
Yep.
Sure.
I don't know if I'm gonna go back to it though, because I'm already so invested in the Japanese one. I kind of wish they did the system where they just had like the translation for the Japanese version and it was the same server, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. You will not be able to port your account over. This is a separate account, so if you've been playing Fate Grand Order in the Japanese version, which we had a guide for, you will not be able to come over to this new server that comes out. You got to start over. What kind of game is this
But,
again?
It's like a
Waifu Collector.
waifu collector RPG, so it's like the only tactics really is like you have like these cards and you pick which cards to use. It draws a hand of 5, and then each one corresponds to like a character and a type of attack, and then you use it depending on what the enemy composition is. There's like a weakness and resistance like circle. But it has a pretty good story, so that might be interesting to play in English, because I can't read kanji. But I actually looked at it recently, and they actually updated a lot of the graphics, even for older characters, which is something that I feel a lot of these games don't do, because they can just make money making newer characters, but they actually went back and updated all the older characters, which is kind of nice. They made the graphics like significantly better. The animations are a lot more visceral, but it's great.
I should mention I actually played the game, and I'm looking forward to the English release, because I played the Japanese one, but I didn't want to get too invested all into it because it's not in English and it's going to be tough to kind of navigate. Plus, now there's an official English one. I can look forward to that. But it has actually really good production value. I mean, I don't know how much it costs to make the game, if there's any information out there. But, I mean, they didn't cheapen out. They got great music, great animations, good graphics. And the production value is really there. I mean, it looks gorgeous, too. Great art. So that alone kind of differentiates it from all the other hero collectors out there. There are a dime a dozen. There's just so many hero collectors. But of the polished, really good-looking ones, there probably aren't that many.
And it's worth mentioning that this will probably end up being a huge release for the year, because even the Japanese version alone made enough money for it to rank in the top 10 mobile games. So with an
comparable to Pokemon Go.
There you go. And this is just in Japan. So when this comes out international, if you guys haven't heard of this yet, I'm sure you'll be seeing it in the top App Store games or whatnot.
I think one thing that really helps it is the setting, because even if you don't know Fate itself, you can kind of relate to who the heroes are, right? Like they have King Arthur and Mordred and all sorts of
all the
legendary figures
of myths.
Gilgamesh.
All right.
And the animations are so good for the alts.
Yeah, exactly. The production value is excellent in the game. It's one of the highest grossing mobile games in the world, based on China and Japan only. and it's going to make mad money in the West. If you look at actually the Reddit page for it, there's like over 200 people active on just the English subreddit for the game. They kind of gives you a barometer of how, yeah, I mean, a lot of real games, a lot of games already out don't get that kind of numbers here. So it is a little process to install the Japanese version too. So people are going through it.
All right, it's the 100th podcast. So from now on, I'm banning the term real games.
Whoa.
We're moving into the future, guys. These are games.
I'm going to give it to Matt. I think that's fair.
Mobile games, not real games. PC Master Race for life.
Oh, I also want to announce this is the 100th episode. We will only cover mobile games from now on.
Yeah, we bought the name MMOs.com. We're going to redirect all the traffic there.
Sorry, guys.
All right, I got to take
We're actually going to start a site called realgames.com. Sorry, Omer, take it away.
All right. Actually, there's potentially a bigger game, the Fate Grand Order. Unfortunately, it's not really on the horizon. Thingsoft is actually developing a sequel to Dungeon Fighter Online.
That's weird.
That is weird.
Thingsoft did not make Dungeon Fighter Online, did they?
No, that was good old Neopol, as most of us already
know.
So
what are they doing? What is Neopol doing? That's what I want to know.
Well, Thingsoft, as you all may know, are the guys who are making the anime one. What's the name? I'm blanking. Peria Chronicles.
Yeah,
they're making Peria Chronicles. There's the name.
There it is.
Don't you think it's a little weird that the biggest franchise in MMORPGs, because again, Dungeon Fighter Online makes more money than World of Warcraft. It's made more money than all the Star Wars movies combined and box sales. This game is so successful. It is literally the highest grossing MMORPG in the world. They gave the sequel to this game to an internal studio that hasn't even released the game yet. I mean, Peria Chronicles isn't out yet. Neopol are the guys that made this successful game of Dungeon Fighter Online. And now they're trusting the sequel and the success of the brand to a studio that has nothing yet, no experience on putting anything out. That just seems very odd.
I'm concerned because, like, I've already expressed my concern over Peria Chronicles. Like, I'm not sure that it's going to be like a proper, fully fleshed out game because of all of the like user created stuff, and I've said that in the past, and to have them hand over this like valuable property to a company that may not even be making a game that's a fully fleshed out game, and they can't do that with a sequel to Dungeon Fighter. Dungeon Fighter has to have pre-created content that people go through, because that's what people are going to expect. They're not going to expect all this like extra little you make it yourself kind of content. And it concerns me. And I mean, the only thing that we know for sure that Thingsoft is really good at is making an anime aesthetic, like really, really polished anime aesthetic. So, I mean, I'm concerned that we're going to get this sequel to this game that is played by so many people, and it's going to be like really pretty, but ultimately vapid.
I mean, look at it's going to be Unreal powered, and they actually talk about the constraints of side-scrolling, right? And they want to get around those constraints with the Unreal Engine and what they want to do with the game. And if you talk about the constraints of side-scrolling, I think one of the iconic and staple elements of DFO was its side-scrolling gameplay and retro graphics, you know? You take that away, I don't think you have DFO anymore. I mean, please don't go the route of Ragnarok Online 2. I mean, Ragnarok Online 2 had no soul. You know, it didn't have anything of the original Ragnarok, but some of the same character designs. You know, why would they do that?
Nobody's learning from that. It's like it was such a horrible disaster. Like both iterations of Ragnarok Online 2, when everyone really just wanted more Ragnarok 1, but like redone, like HD graphics or something. You know, like you can imagine they just did that, just like a completely new Ragnarok Online 1, like upgraded. Never mind, that's Tree of Savior, isn't it?
But why would they do this? It's such a departure, because people know DFO is something.
I'm gonna be out of character and be the optimist on a 2D game going 3D here. Okay, you know, I love the 2D aesthetic. It works. It's fine. There's no need for the sequel to be 3D. But with that said, I'm actually hoping they kind of go the route of Vindictus, another Korean game, kind of the same model where there's a hub and then you take these missions and go out and fight. So if they make it like Vindictus, I think they can work. Why not? Imagine Dungeon Fighter Online, Vindictus.
We've seen the Vindictus model with that beat 'em up style gameplay so many times. But I think again we haven't really seen the side-scrolling arcade retro look, and that you look at it, it looks amazing, and it's always been like eye-catching and cool. If the moment you just say another 3D Vindictus style game. There's so many games, like Vindictus with that same concept. We've actually played a whole Soul Worker Online. We've played Arpeal. There's literally there's the new one coming by the guys that make Terra is coming in the West again. Forgot the name for some reason. The White Knights, the White Knights.
White Knights, what?
Help me out.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It was a mobile game called something the White Knights. There's a PC version.
It's called the Nita Sarkeesian's White Knights. I remember that, yeah.
Critica, yeah.
That is not made by the Terra guys. No, that is published by the Terra publisher.
Published by Terra guys. Okay, yeah. So that model, right, with the Vindictus, with the 3D art has been done so many times. I wanted something. I don't know. It just seems the soul of the. I mean, obviously, there's nothing really out there but some vague ideas for the game, right? They could come out with something amazing. And then I'd be able to complement those side-scrolling elements, maybe with it still might not be fully 3D, but it might have some kind of it might still use some side-scrolling within a somewhat 3D world, and it could be really cool. I'm just hoping they don't go too far away from their base and what made DFO great. Just don't make another Ragnarok Online 2 blunder where it just becomes this generic, soulless 3D game.
That's what I feel though. That is my intuition. Is that I smell the Ragnarok Online 2 blunder. I hope that's not what it is. That they're smarter than that, but. I mean, you're gonna make it if you're making a sequel to the most popular game in the world. I mean, it better be, monumental. It better be whoa, everyone's gonna want to play this, and I just don't see it happening, especially when the company that made the original game isn't on this project. It just seems very odd.
There are two problems. There are two key problems. So, Dungeon Fighter Online is the most profitable MMORPG in the world. Why would you make a sequel? Why not just let it ride it out? You don't need a sequel. The sequel directly competes with the original game, which is fine when you're making offline games because it doesn't matter. They can always play both. But you can't do that with online games because they require a certain amount of expenditure of time and money, and you're going to either have to put it all of what you are going to spend time-wise or money-wise on one game, or you're going to have to feel like you're gimped in both games. So people are going to either ultimately go away from Dungeon Fighter Online, or they're going to stick with Dungeon Fighter Online. And ultimately, it makes it a pointless endeavor, in my opinion, to make it a sequel. I mean, the thing is, they could have made exactly what they were going to make as a sequel to Dungeon Fighter, but not called it Dungeon Fighter, set it in a different world, and it wouldn't have been competing directly with Dungeon Fighter. But the fact that they're calling it a sequel ultimately makes it to compete directly with Dungeon Fighter. Now, here's the other thing that concerns me. As I said, Thingsoft is an unproven developer making a game that may not even be a proper MMORPG, and it may be too reliant on the community. And what that says to me is that they're pushing the development of this game off to a company that maybe has some extra resources and is quote-unquote capable, but capable doesn't mean that they're going to make a good game. It just means that they're going to make a game that works. I mean, and maybe that's all that they're aiming for is a game that works, but that's still problematic because it's not going to be what the fans want it to be.
Well, regardless, we can still be optimistic. I mean, we're just kind of speculating right now. I mean,
are we optimists here? Are we optimists or are we pessimists?
Don't they have a mobile game coming out? And didn't we not like the visuals of that?
Oh yeah, it was,
oh my god, the DFO mobile game. Yeah. DFO Spirit. I have to show you that again.
Stick with the pixel animation, please. For love of God, don't do.
Oh, I thought it looked really nice and smooth.
Really?
I thought it looked awful.
I guess it's an aesthetic taste then. It's all
like me that baby.
Hold on, I'm gonna show you a video for it here.
I think maybe it comes down to how much do you I love pixel art over isometric art over 3D modeling.
I thought something about the graphics in DFO Spirit just felt like they took a beautiful look. I think the DFO look would look great on mobile, but they add this weird 3D look to it. I think I showed it to my brother too afterwards. After I recorded the video, I was just playing the game for fun, and I think he agreed with it at the time. But there's something about the art style in the game that looks like it's a departure from that slick pixel art that I think made DFO look great.
I always thought the TFO looked washed out and too much of a specific color in too many areas.
Again, regardless, I think we should all still admit that at least Nexon kind of knows what they're doing. They have the most successful MMORPG in the world right now with DFO, and DFO is still growing in popularity. So maybe they'll pull off something amazing. I think Dungeon Fighter Spirit is not fully out yet. I think it's still in beta. So I mean, all this stuff is still they could fix it all. They could. I mean, the sequel could be amazing. Who knows?
Yeah, you don't like the hand-drawn art in the background?
No, I think the 3D look of it looks awful for me. But I don't know. I could maybe they clearly focus tested it, right? I can't imagine they just did this without testing it and asking other people what they think.
Well, maybe you're,
it just
maybe you're just fucking an old curmudgeon.
Wait, Matt, are you talking about the background? No, I think the backgrounds are fine. I think what we have an issue with is the
3D models and the characters.
Character models.
See, the thing about the character models is that one, they stand out from the background because they're vibrant compared to the background, which is very not as vibrant, but it's like beautifully rendered, so you don't think about the fact that it's not as vibrant. And on top of that, the animations are very smooth, so it just looks good in motion. I mean, I don't see what you guys are complaining about.
I think
but,
no,
I mean,
man, I think
very
you're right.
different.
I think you're totally right. I think it comes down to a like an arbitrary aesthetic appreciation. I think Omer and Erhan here, they just expect, like, compared to the pixel art of Dungeon Fighter, they prefer that. I don't think it's not like a criticism. You're right, though. It's totally smooth. It looks fine, I think, on its own. I think it's just that the comparison, like, if you were to choose a style,
yeah,
am I wrong? We would choose.
No, you're right.
Like, I think I also like pixel art, but I mean, I will say that you're right. It's smooth. It looks fine for what it is. Like, if you were to judge it solely on its own, it's just, when you compare it to its predecessor, it doesn't have the same, because it lacks that same outward appearance. It can be a little jarring for some people.
With that said,
but, it's funny. A lot of mobile games do use the same appearance. It's like it's a very common thing to use these 3D models. And same with like RPGs. Like, I know that all the Final Fantasy games on mobile, they also go for the 3D model aesthetic. But it's fine. It's whatever.
I think it's easier to have 3D models that look bright and vibrant and make them look right, because with 3D models you can apply a lot more shading, so you can get the shading to look just right, and you can have like fades around the edges or make it brighter around the edges, and you can make them pop in a certain way. And so ultimately it's a lot easier for developers to take 3D models and make it look a certain
100% right. I bet that's exactly why they went with it. I do like pixel art.
We need you to break the tie. It's a 2-2 tie over here. Sure. What looks better? Do you like the?
I'm actually no, it's not a tie because I'm actually with you guys. I'm just
okay.
Oh, okay.
I do like pixel art.
Shoot,
sorry, Shu. Anyway. We don't need you. But I understand where Matt's coming from. I think he's right too.
What do you think about the 3D in this Dungeon Fighter Spirit video on the stream?
The 3D character models versus
the character models themselves, yeah.
I like 2D.
There it is.
Personal preference.
But then I'm biased. I mean, like, that's not even a fair question.
We're all biased.
Yeah, everyone's biased.
There's journalism going over here, huh? Neither is object. We only have one journalist here. Okay, that's it.
But it's like you're already asking me a question. You know the answer to it.
No, maybe you changed your mind. Maybe you had like a nice like Cobb salad the other day. You changed your mind. You're staring at the
nice
sunset.
3D Cobb salad.
Yeah,
Change
exactly.
your view on 3D versus 2D.
All right, what else we got here, huh?
I got an optimistic piece of news.
Please, we need one of those.
I like optimism.
And here's something in the podcast I've mentioned before, and kind of I've railed against Skysaga and their infinite series of alphas. Okay.
Yes.
They've had 12 alphas.
12 alphas.
Oh my god.
Okay, I've been over this with you guys, and it never went down. It's not a different alpha. It's a major version number.
Matt, hold up. They're calling it the end of alpha.
They're calling it an alpha, Matt.
Yeah.
Every single one has been an alpha as per their own email.
Yes, but it's the same as like StarCitizen 3.0. It's literally just a version number.
That might not be the best persuasive comparison.
You know what I mean, though. It's just it was the first thing that came to mind.
Look, they're calling it an alpha. I'm calling it an alpha. I mean, I don't know what else to say to that. This game was originally.
But it's one alpha.
No, it's not. Look, Matt, I have an email that says Alpha 8 launches next week for Skysaga. You tell me that's not the 8th alpha?
That's a version number. It's a version number.
Wait, so
Matt,
okay, this is all fair.
Uniquely you issue.
This is a circle jerk. So where are you going with this, Mr. Erhan?
Okay, my point is they're finally leaving alpha as announced on their official site here, and they will be entering beta. This is probably one of the longest alpha processes I've seen.
Well, maybe that's a good thing though. Maybe they didn't jump. Maybe they're the only studio in all of the industry to not jump the damn gun and claim that they're now an early access title. Maybe this is a good sign.
Yeah. I'm happy for them. I'm glad they're going to open beta.
It's a sign of assurance.
I'm happy to give them another look, guys. It's a really cute game. I think it make a great, casual jump in.
What's
play.
It called again? Skysaga.
Skysaga. Take a look at the site. I think you'll like it.
Okay, fair enough. I'll take a look right now.
But do you think this will compete with Trove? Because I feel like that's the closest thing you're going to see.
It will be competing with Trove.
It's going to compete directly with Trove. The core difference is that Skysaga, so you have like the instances in games like Vindictus, but imagine, better comparison. So you remember in Skyforge, you had the open world things, there were instances, but you just kind of get thrown into an instance with a bunch of other players rather than it being your own, and it's kind of like a questing zone, but it's still an instance and it's still separated from the hub. Do you remember that in Skyforge? That's how all of the levels are in Skysaga. So you go in, you do your kind of like little quests in a randomly generated area, so it's a little different, and then you jump back to the hub, you get more quests, you go back out and repeat forever. In Trove, you drop into an instance from the hub, and that instance is just where you stay for the entirety of your play session, unless you just happen to like want to reset and go somewhere else. So the way that you do it is a little different, and your main hub is actually not going to be like the hub world. The hub world is just where you go to buy, sell, and to get quests, but your base of operations is going to be an actual like base, so like Trove's club worlds, but made for a specific person rather than like a club, and you can customize it. So it's a little different, but it is going to be competing directly with Trove because ultimately it's still an action RPG with like the kind of instance thing in the hub world, and it has the whole voxel look to it. But I think it has a chance, and the reason that I think it has a chance is because it's being backed by Smilegate. And, Smilegate has Crossfire or whatever it is, whichever shooter. I'm pretty sure it's Crossfire. And so Crossfire is exceptionally popular. So I think they know what they're doing when they picked it up, So.
But don't you think Trove has the advantage of having like a first mover advantage for this like free to play look of this style game?
It might have an advantage.
There are similar looking games and it might have
an advantage, but as someone who played both, I will say I think Skysaga, even though I played it 2 years ago, I'm showing a video, guys, of Omer and I playing together. Skysaga, this is 2-year-old video, okay, almost 2, July 2015, and I gotta say, Skysaga looks much better to me. It's brighter, the colors are more vibrant. It has that whole, you have your own little area that you can go off on missions on, as Matt was saying. And I really enjoyed the visuals. And I actually am looking forward to playing the open beta with you guys on a Grindfest or something.
Also, Remo, keep in mind that people who played Trove and that really enjoyed it, they might have been burnt out by Trove itself at this point. So they're going to look for a game that's similar, and they'll just move to that. I think that games that are in the same genre have trouble when they release too close together. But if you have enough time in between, then you're more likely to jump from one to the next. So
that's true.
I don't see why Skysaga can't steal players from Trove, especially since, look, I only heard about this game through you guys. I don't think that they've ramped up their marketing yet. I really haven't seen much from this. I hear about it kind of peripherally. I mean, Tryon pushed Trove quite a bit. I think that once Skysaga starts like ramping up their gears, we could see those Trove numbers dip, or at least we're going to see Skysaga do well.
This game calls
I'm actually curious.
Rucksacks. There's only one other game I know that does that. Do you know what game I'm thinking of?
Rucksacks?
Calls its backpack a rucksack.
Too close to nutsack, but go ahead.
Come on, you have to know.
What game calls backpacks rucksacks?
Is it Ultima?
No.
Harvest Moon, isn't it?
Yeah, it does.
I actually never played
Harvest Moon. Calls their backpacks rucksacks. So weird. This game does too.
There are rucksacks in State of Decay too.
I haven't heard that one. But I agree with Gummy. It sounds like rucksacks.
I think WarZ also did. I think Urok is right. I think WarZ called their bags rucksack. I think that's why I liked WarZ, because it sounded like nutsack, and that's what I always wanted. That's what I always wanted for a bag.
Yeah, rucksack is a non-American way to say that.
Today I learned. Somebody said they're called rucksacks in the UK all the time. We just refer to them as backpacks.
I'm gonna smoke a faggot, and I'm gonna put the rest of my faggots in the rucksack. Is that what I'm getting at here?
Whoa,
wait! This is still child-friendly, right?
Oh yeah, of course. We thought you talked about cigarettes and sticks, right? You're good.
I love cigarettes and steaks. I like to drown my steak in ketchup, right?
That's very presidential taste of you, Gumby.
Do you have any more positive news? We are, I don't think we're Debbie Downers, but let's see if we have some more positive news.
I got some positive. I got positive.
You are just the bastion of positivity. Please let us know.
All right, we got Asta Online launching.
Okay, that's not positive.
That's very positive.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Let me find it on. But yeah, this game is very odd that this game is still, first of all, still around. But they're relaunching on Steam, and there's actually a release date sometime later this month.
This is hilarious to me, by the way.
The people that make Digimon Masters Online somehow weasel their way into the license for this bad boy.
I want to
I have a
point
feeling
out
the
that most
developers
games...
shut down.
Yes.
Oh,
I
yeah.
gave you the wrong link. Oh, why can't I find the right link?
It's funny how
No,
most
same
games
thing.
that re-release on Steam are typically like, you know, they have beards. You know, they're old. They're older games. But Asta, fuck shit. They're like a year old, right? They shut down when? October 4th, 2016? Wait a second. They shut down on October 4th, 2016. That's not even, what, 6 months ago. And now they're re-releasing under a new publisher on Steam. It's funny. I don't know, like, is there like a memo that goes around to like companies with games that failed and like, oh, push your game on Steam, maybe you'll have some luck. Like, all these games show up on Steam again, and I just don't understand why. Because some of them do okay, most of them just get nothing. We have a list.
Conspiracy theory, all right? Steam
Go for
is
it.
actually secretly a school for MMO necromancers.
Oh, they are the preeminent
They are
necromancer. Yes.
Are you telling me that it's Little Witch Academia? Is that it?
Oh, great
Something like
anime.
that.
Here,
Great
we actually have an editorial that shows you all the games that were relaunched through Steam. And Asta is going to be joining this list. I mean, these are games like Night Online, which is one of the few successors, Nyan Dragon, Dark Eden, Kal Online, Cabal, Lucenheart, and now Asta, a game that's only 6 months since it shut down, will be on this list. The rest of these games are like at least 5 years old, I would say.
Mhm.
Legend of
I
Ares.
mean-
Is
I
Lucid
think-
Heart still played?
Is what still played?
Listen hard.
Lucid Heart.
No, almost nobody plays it. The game's basically dead. There's a very
They just
small
had a-
core audience.
They had an item mall update though on the 10th.
Wow.
Shu,
No
can
one looked
you
their
guess?
few users.
Shu, I only want to hear from Shu. Shu, how many people do you think are playing Lucenheart right now? I'm going to give
30.
you a hint. It's two numbers. Two numbers, Shu.
Who did
30.
this? 15. So it was a good guess. Yeah.
Oh
you were
god,
better.
I was being
You're a
pessimistic
little generous,
to
Shu. You're an idealist. It's okay. The glass is half full for you.
Listen Heart was never good. Never good.
Guys, I wish I bid for the license to Asta Online, but apparently Move Games snatched it before me. I was looking for a game to Necromancer ourselves, but we couldn't grab one, unfortunately.
Asta would have been a good
I would have
one,
bid
for sure.
$1,000. Probably would have ended up bidding them
Right.
because there's no way they paid that much for this.
I wonder how
Well, I
much
feel
they
like
paid
what
for it.
happened with Asta is that there was a decent audience, but like WebZen didn't want to deal with it because it was still just too much effort for how little the audience was overall, and Move Games saw a chance. I mean, they brought it back too quickly for it not to have been making like any money at all. You know what I mean?
Let's make a bet. Let's make some predictions rather, not a bet. Predictions.
Oh, get the Excel sheet out. Hold on.
Excel sheet is that predictions. Let's say 2 weeks after this game launches. All right, 2 weeks exactly.
2 weeks
What will the
to the date.
what will the player base, the peak player base be that day? So we'll go with
120.
peak player
My
base.
guess is 120. 120 people.
I remember 2 weeks is still kind of new, so I'm gonna say 175.
250.
Price is Right rules, by the way. If you go over, you lose.
Gumball, I got some bad news for you. You put up an article about Soul Saver Online coming to Steam, but you didn't update your little list there.
Eat shitter. I was going to do it, but I didn't.
I never actually. Soul.
I'm gonna say 205.
Okay, oddly specific. All right, shit. What about you? How many people will be playing Asta Online 2 weeks after it
It's
launches
okay
on
to be
Steam?
specific when it's Price is Right rules.
Yeah, it's Price is Right rules. I'm giving myself
Price
that
is Right
5
rules, baby.
just in case it's over.
I'm gonna do one.
All right, she
Yeah,
says
yeah.
1. She says 1 because she's Price is Right rules. We could have all overshot. if
Yo,
it's like
Shu, I
anything
wanna
basically
point out,
with 720 wins.
If there was anybody out there who was adventurous, if we compiled every Price is Right rules bet, you are always the asshole who bets either 1 or like 1 over.
I'm just being
Play the
optimal.
game hard. Yeah, I know.
That's a fair guess. Watch it actually turn out to be like 5, and she's actually like the closest as well.
Oh my
Like,
god.
on top of, you know.
Tasty Toad, he asks if they ever go through. I think we've been pretty good. A lot of our bets have been coming up lately, and I think the last podcast or 2 before we had a bet confirmed or denied. So we have been trying to be better about actually following our bets.
Isn't
I
there
haven't been
like a
paid
street
for any of
course?
these bets.
Another
Red
Vi.
Lobster dinner's on the way.
I got the max level in what's it called? God, I don't remember the name of it.
Such a bullshit bet.
Icarus Online.
Oh yeah, level 20. Good job, bro.
Well, it's the max
Fucking,
level.
that's like the original Guild Wars right there. You hit
Did I
level
pick?
20
Did I pick the max level, or did Nexon pick it? All right.
Yeah. The developers did, I guess.
You met the Korean version where it was like 60 on launch, right? Come on.
Is the bet sheet public? The one that
Yeah.
No.
Well, between us it is. Yeah. That's why we fix it. Don't you know that we are scam artists, or we fix the bets between ourselves?
I'm gonna
Nice.
I'm gonna lose a bet soon. I said WildStar would shut down right this month.
Yeah.
So
You did.
So I don't think it's gonna happen,
You
boys.
still have time. You still have time.
All right.
Shouldn't
If
Remo be
it
losing
doesn't
bets?
happen, you have to pay us all.
Uh-oh.
Man, I owe you a Red Lobster dinner. I'm gonna pay you on Second Life. We're gonna go find with the Red Lobster server or the Red Lobster Meta World. We'll sit down, you know, have some biscuits.
The Dinker,
should
thank
make
you
sure
for the
you said-
$2 donation. Cha-ching.
Oh, thank
no,
you.
you know, he'll probably take it to his favorite strip club too while he's at it. You know.
You should make sure Omer takes you to
right?
a Red Lobster
remember
fetish
that.
club.
Yeah. So what? It'll be like Otherland, where the strippers take off their skin.
Ew,
No, but
what?
they took off their clothes and then they're like, "Oh, you okay?"
Yeah,
And he's
I had
like,
a
yeah,
stripper in
that's
Second
me.
Life. That's me. I had a fan in Second Life who was stripping. It was an interesting experience. I played
The
League
only
of
time-
Legends.
The only time I ever
Yeah,
went
I
into
heard
Second
somebody
Life was
go-
with Remo.
E-Fame gets you
It was
e-strippers.
weird.
Oh, I got the I get the free lap dances on Second Life. Yo,
By-
they were actually bronze tier League of Legends players, like literally bronze.
Oh, do you remember, Omer? If Star Citizen releases, I remember you have to drink a sun-cooked Bud Light Lime.
I'm
And I
glad you
remember that
still
because-
that.
Bud Light Lime is kind of gross to begin with, though it's a great beach drink, but a warm one, my fuck, you're fucked. I hope it doesn't release for your sake. Jeez.
All right.
But this is the 100th episode of the MMOs.com podcast. I think we're coming to an end here, unless anyone has any final thoughts.
Well,
I stole that from you, Omer. I took that shit and I went with it.
The final thought, guys, is stick around. This is going to be a pretty interesting after show this time. If you're watching on YouTube, you will be missing out on this.
We will be doing a separate, smaller giveaway on YouTube. Just keep an eye out for that in the next few days. But for everyone else, there'll be a fun giveaway, a game of skill, game
Skill?
of love,
Games of
But
skill.
Game of love.
But before that, remember to keep donating so Omer can pay his dues.
For-
All right, guys.
I'm so hungry.
Stick around for the after show. I'm going to be calling it for YouTube. Thanks again for watching. That's it.
100 episodes.
All right,
See ya.
later for YouTube, 100 episode. Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah.